It is a pleasure to give you a presentation today on the outcome of the 10th meeting of the Chemical Review Committee and the 10th meeting of the POPs Review Committee. As you know, the 10th meeting of the Chemical Review Committee took place from the 22nd to the 24th of October 2014, and pre-meetings were held for the task groups on 21st October. You can find more information on the CRC10 website that is indicated here in the slide. The 10th meeting of the POPRC took place from 27th to 30th of October 2014, and pre-meetings of the intersessional working groups took place on the 27th of October. You can also find information on the POPRC10 website. The venue of these two meetings was the FAO headquarters in Rome. The Bureau of the CRC10 was composed of the chair, the interim chair. The chair will be confirmed at the next COP in May, Mr. Jürgen Helbig from Spain. The vice chairs, Mr. Boniface Mbewe from Zambia, Ms. Amal Rashad from Kuwait, Ms. Magdalena Friedrich from Poland, and Ms. Gilberto Filman from Brazil. The Bureau of the POPRC10 was formed by the chair, Ms. Estefania Moreira from Brazil, and the vice chair, Ms. Azari Abdelbaji from Sudan. The CRC10 adopted two draft decision guidance documents and forwarded them to COP7 for consideration of listing in Annex 3 of the Convention a pesticide, metamidophos, and a severely hazardous pesticide formulation, fenthion, ultra-low volume formulations at or above 640 gram active ingredient per liter. Fenthion 640 ULV in short. The CRC10 at the 10th meeting reviewed the notifications of final regulatory action on 3 industrial chemicals, and these are short-chain chlorinated paraffins, tributyltin compounds, and polychlorinated naphthalene. On polychlorinated naphthalene, the notification submitted by Canada met all the criteria in Annex 2, and the rationale was adopted. But the notification submitted by Japan did not meet the criteria in Annex 2, paragraph B, so no further action was taken on this chemical. On short-chain chlorinated paraffins, the notifications submitted by Norway and Canada met all the criteria in Annex 2. It was adopted the rationale for both the notifications, and since these notifications were sent from parties of 2 different peak regions, the CRC recommended listing the short-chain chlorinated paraffins in Annex 3 to the Convention and established an intersessional drafting group to prepare draft decision guidance documents on this chemical. On tributyltin compounds, notifications were submitted by Canada, and this met all the criteria in Annex 2, and the CRC adopted the rationale. Then, taking into account that there were notifications previously submitted by the European Union and Canada on tributyltin compounds under the pesticide category that met all the criteria in Annex 2, the committee recommended listing tributyltin compounds in Annex 3 to the Convention in the industrial chemicals category, and established an international drafting group to revise the existing decision guidance document on tributyltin compounds to include information relevant to the industrial chemicals category. We remind you that tributyltin compounds were already listed in Annex 3 to the Convention as pesticide. So, in summary, the chemicals recommended for inclusion in Annex 3 at COP7 will be trichlorphol, which was recommended by the 9th meeting of the CRC, metamidophos, benzalium 640 ULV, and 2 previously considered chemicals, which are creasotyl asbestos and paraquat. This concludes my presentation. I am happy now to pass the floor to Mario Iatto to continue with the outcome of POPRC10.
Thank you, Francesca, and good morning or good afternoon to everyone, depending on which part of the world you are. I'm happy to join you today, and I will take you through a summary of the main outcomes of the 10th meeting of the POPs Review Committee, which also took place in Rome a couple of weeks ago. On pentachlorophenol and its all salts and esters, the committee adopted the risk management evaluation for this group of chemicals. It decided, in accordance with paragraph 9 of Article 8 of the Convention, to recommend to the Conference of the Parties that it consider listing PCP and its all salts and esters in Annex A to the Convention, with the specific exemptions for the production and use of PCP for utility poles and cross arms. It also recommends, in the event of listing with specific exemptions, that each party that has registered for the exemption for the production and use of PCP to take the necessary measures to ensure that utility poles and cross arms containing PCP can be easily identified by labeling or other means throughout their life cycle. Articles treated with PCP should not be reused for purposes other than those exempted. For dicofol, the committee was satisfied that the proposal to list dicofol in Annex A, B, or C to the Convention met the screening criteria as set out in Annex D. It also established an intersessional working group that will be preparing a draft risk profile on dicofol, and an invitation letter was already sent out on the 31st of October 2014 to invite parties and observers to provide information specified in Annex E to develop the risk profile for dicofol, which will be evaluated by the committee in 2015. An intersessional working group on short-chain chlorinated paraffins has been reconvened to commence its work and prepare a revised draft risk profile for consideration at POPRC11 next year. A number of chemicals will be recommended for inclusion in Annexes A, B, and or C of the Stockholm Convention during the meeting of the Conference of the Parties in 2015. These are chemicals that have already been assessed by the committee at its 9th meeting. Those are chlorinated naphthalines and hexachlorobutadiene, to be recommended for listing in Annexes A and C. And after completed the review of pentachlorophenol, its salts and esters at its 10th meeting, the committee is recommending its listing in Annex A. During the meeting of the committee this year, there was an evaluation of PFOS, its salts, and PFOS-F pursuant to paragraphs 5 and 6 of Part 3 of Annex B. Following those discussions, the committee decided to submit the summary of the report on the assessment of alternatives to PFOS, its salts, and PFOS-F, together with the full report on the assessment, as well as fact sheets on alternatives to those chemicals. These documents will be discussed by the Conference of the Parties at its 7th meeting in 2015. The committee also provided comments on the report that was prepared by the Secretariat, which includes an evaluation of information that has been collected on PFOS, its salts, and PFOS-F, and that also will be submitted to COP7 next year. Also, the committee has recommended that the Conference of the Parties encourages parties using the exemptions to take measures necessary to ensure that articles containing those chemicals can be easily identified by labeling or other means throughout their life cycle, which is a similar recommendation that was made to PCPs. Sorry, I went too far. Following up on PFOS, on the guidance of alternatives to PFOS, its salts and PFOS-F, and the related chemicals, the committee decided to establish an intersessional working group that will prepare for consideration and adoption at POPRC10 in 2015, a proposal for preparing a revision of the guidance on alternatives to PFOS, its salts, PFOS-F, and the related chemicals, that consolidates the information on alternatives to those chemicals. For those of you who have been following the work on PFOS, there are a number of documents that have been produced over the last couple of years, and the objective of this intersessional working group is precisely to integrate and merge in one single document all the work and information that has been produced on PFOS. Further, the committee invited parties and observers in a position to do so to provide financial support to enable the Secretariat to engage a consultant to support the activities mentioned above. On the issues of effective participation, the Secretariat was invited to continue its activities related to supporting effective participation in the work of the committee, recognizing the importance of having comments and recommendations from parties which are part of this activity on effective participation. And then on the item of coordination and collaboration with other scientific subsidiary bodies, the joint intersessional working group that was working on this issue was requested to finalize the draft guidance and submit it to the Conference of the Parties at its 7th meeting in May next year. The Secretariat was requested also to report to COP7 on the benefits that have been gained from and any negative impact of the back-to-back meetings of the two committees, the CRC and the POPRC, and on the experience in the organization of the joint meeting. And with that, I conclude my participation. Thank you.